Yeah, I got a certain way, but
Okay. Travis Turner is co-founder of Brick and Loft Realty in Lubbock. Brick and Loft is a top 10 brokerage for number of buyers helped and has over 53 million in total production. In personal production, Travis is top 5 in Lubbock for number of home buyers helped. He is a real estate investor, a man of faith, a college athlete. He's leader to almost 30 agents. He's partner in True Asset Property Management and Millionaire Mafia investor education and much, much more. Travis Turner, welcome to the show.
glad to be here. Appreciate you taking the time to have me on.
Yeah, thank you so much for coming, man. How did you get into real estate?
Man, I got into real estate when I was probably in college, sophomore year. I didn't know what I was going to do, and I thought about real estate and then didn't think of it until I was about to graduate. And then I kind of got in that mode of like, what the heck am I going to do with my life? And I started going to the career fairs, and I interviewed with about 13 different companies, and they offered me base plus salary or plus commission, and it just wasn't the structure I was looking for. I interviewed with some old companies, some local companies, and it was all like 35,000 plus commissions, and it just wasn't what I was after. I wanted to make as much money. If I put more time in, I wanted to be compensated for that time. And so I turned all those down. I started working at Costco, and I helped open the one up here in Lubbock. And it really clicked at that time when I was talking to one of the managers above me, and we just had the new GM come and help open the store. And they're like, "Yeah, it's crazy. The guy's the youngest GM in Costco history, and he gets his own store in Lubbock." I'm like, "Dude, that's crazy." And they're like, "I'm like, how much does the guy make?" And they're like, "Well, he's been in it for 20 years, has worked his way through Costco, and he makes about, any guess,
Like 75K a year or something.
120 grand a year." So
Oh
it took
man,
him
after
20
20
years to
years.
break six figures.
Wow.
And I was like, "Dang, how do I make
That
that
sucks.
next year?" Yeah, I was like, I want
Right.
that next year. I don't want that in 20 years. That sounds terrible. And you're on your
Yeah.
feet all day. And so, anyways, bailed out of that. I
Oh
worked at
my
Chimneys
gosh.
at a bar, met a guy. I started doing real estate and Chimneys at the same time in September. And I worked at Chimneys for about 6 months during football season. And I met a guy. The first house I ever sold was 400 grand. And instantly I became hooked and was like, real estate's going to be easy. Didn't sell another house for like 4 months, but it was that was a learning curve, but it was something that I knew I could pour my time into, and I saw the curve of being able to take your career and continually building it. And I liked the idea of that. Just so
Yeah,
happened that my sister's best friend's dad was a top agent in Lubbock, and he's like, "Get your license, and you can join my team," and that's what I did.
that's amazing. So I tried to play basketball with you one time. You played, and I quickly learned you had played a little basketball before. Tell me about your basketball career.
Career is short lived. I played all the way growing up in high school, and I transferred from Texas Tech to Lubbock Christian for a season in 2012. And I was on like the lower team that they had. And after that season was over, we got demolished by just about every single team that rolled through there. We played a ton of top ranked JUCOs. Yeah, we got like gosh dang, I wish I could remember his name. There was a guy that played for Howard University, that Jay Crowder. Dude had just left the team that we went and played. And so that kind of caliber of athlete is who we were playing against. And dude, it was rough, but it was a good learning experience. And then they offered for me to stay on and help with the, move up, and I could work my way up and see if I can get some PT. I was like, man, you know what? I'm just going to transfer back to tech. I missed all the people, and I used to party. So I missed all the partying and hanging out and doing my thing in college. So I transferred back, and that was kind of my reason for leaving again. But I
That's
still play to
that's
this day.
awesome. Yeah, yeah. Uh, I did notice a small gap between your skill level and my skill level when we played. I thought I probably shouldn't do that again. Maybe we take it over to a different sport where I'm uh cl where I can compete a little better.
Disc
Look,
golf.
I think we're actually on the same team, so that
Yeah, that,
helps.
that
But
helps.
yeah,
Yeah, me, you, and Omar, I think, played.
that's right. That's right.
Yeah,
Okay, so how many investment properties do you own or are you partner to now?
I guess it's a two-sided question. Which one do you want to know?
Oh, like let's just say combined, like if we were to look at all the deals you're a partner to and the ones you have on your own and then add them together, how many do you think it is for an investment property count or door count?
Pretty close to 50.
50. Okay. And so, with that in mind, what is your guidance to people wanting to buy their first investment property?
For the first investment property, number one is I would say, locate the money, whether that's going to be hard money, your money at the bank, whatever, private capital, cash, anything they're going to use. You got to find the money. And then I would say two ways to do it, depending on if you have the time. I would try to source something that needs value add. It doesn't have to be crazy, or negotiate something on market to a lower price. And if you don't have the time, just find you something that at least hits metrics as far as cash flow. It depends on, everybody's goals are different. And usually when somebody calls in and wants to buy a rental property, we have a conversation and I kind of work through multiple questions in order to get them to the right, what exactly they're looking for. Because investment property to me could be, it's a spider web. It can be so many different things, so many different targets, plans. It's a numbers game. I mean, I've got some people that just want to fix something up. They don't care if they lose $50 a month, but they're going to claim all that depreciation. So really just depends on what somebody's goals are. But I would say if you're getting into the game, figure out how you're going to finance it and then go find a deal, is typically my advice. And don't be so picky that you never find anything. You got to pull the trigger on something and you got to learn.
Yeah. So I've worked with more investors with you than any other realtor. That kind of opened the investor floodgates when you and I started working together. So
Yeah.
another thing that I've noticed. So you seem to have a unique ability to surround yourself with really great people, and that it might be your top skill from the outside. So does that just happen naturally for you, or is that something that you put conscious effort towards?
I would say, God gives us each unique abilities, and I've had the good ability to read into people for the most part. Sometimes you get burned, but for the most part, I can tell like who somebody is in a pretty quick conversation or hangout. And I've always been just like the glue and the energy. So not always am I bringing the idea or the money, but a lot of times I just bring them like, oh, this person has this and this person has this, and together they're going to create something beautiful. And I can usually pair things like that together, and then I carve out my piece of that said company or entity or whatever, as my equity piece. And I've just done that. I've brought on, I bring on agents and handymen and contractors and partners, and we met. A lot of different things that I do for a lot of different companies is I'm always bringing people around and kind of creating something, even though I may have limited actual work done in certain areas. I just bring people together, and it's just been a gift that's worked really well in real estate because it's all about who you know, and the assets that you have, which are typically people or contractors. I can't tell you how many people are they ask me for anything they can think of for their property. They're like, man, you always got a guy for something. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of the value of being a realtor. It's like if you're a realtor that doesn't know anybody and doesn't have any contacts, like what really are you bringing somebody? The paperwork's easy. It's more of like the follow up and what you can do for somebody afterwards.
Yeah, you're very, very good at that. So, and it's interesting to hear like how that you first off that you see it also, and the way that you see that skill, like bringing everybody together, being the that energy that does that, or the glue that puts the deal together, puts everyone together like that. It's very, very, very cool to see all of it. Um, what is Millionaire Mafia?
Yeah. Millionaire Mafia is something that we spun off because there was a lot of people that wanted to flip property and invest, but they didn't have the right tools or processes, and they didn't know exactly what they were doing. We saw time and time again people getting money, doing a flip, and then losing their butt, right, on something that they just either weren't set up right in the beginning, had the wrong intel from investor, realtor, or whatever. But something made the deal flip upside down. They get foreclosed on, ruin their credit, deed in lieu, all the time spent wasted. It's not a happy scene. And we kept seeing this time and time again after we started our private lending company to where we can lend on fix and flips, right? Hard money. And so we were like, how do we teach the people that borrow from us to be more successful so that once they start learning the process and they come lend from us, then we know we're going to have better loans. We're going to have people that turn property faster and correctly so that there won't be that loss, right? I don't know the
Yeah.
average turnover between a private lender and their clientele, but I think as of late, as of today, we've had two returned to us, and one was because the guy didn't touch it for the entire 6 months he had it. We can't help that if somebody's not going to do their portion, right?
Yeah.
Um, so it's something that we have pretty healthy return on for our students, if you will, the Millionaire Mafia, where they're learning. It's a 12-week course teaching them how to be a general contractor, how to actually be the guy running the crews, hiring the workers, and how to set up their job site, how to set up all the paperwork so that they are, they have limited liability in terms of like suits and injury and things like that, and then how to actually run the steps and processes to flip a house from A to Z in the correct order, and how to have hard conversations with your contractors when needed, and then that way you can have a more accurate contract bid, more accurate ARV, and be able to exit that property in a couple of different ways that we teach. So it's been a good program. A lot of people have really enjoyed it. We have a pretty high success rate for those that make phone calls. About an 80 to 90% success rate of people that actually find a deal during the 12-week course, and then many that find one after they're over. We have a wholesale operation that is ongoing to help students find deals, so we can help source deals for them as well. So kind of a full-fledged vertically integrated operation that's worked out really well.
Yeah. And so that probably brings us to True Asset. Talk to me about that. What does it do?
Yeah. So True Assets, another company we have. It's a property management company, about 330 units, I believe now is what we manage. We've probably got 100 of those are our own units between me and my partners that we manage. So we manage for other people like we would our own stuff. We've got a unique process where we have an entire team that manages everybody's properties rather than having one person that's your property manager and then they do everything for your set of properties. So if you can't get hold of somebody, you've got multiple people to reach out to. We have multiple people all working on everybody's properties at the same time. And so recently we have True Asset Management, and we have our own in-house maintenance. And we've opened up Silver Lake Services, which is now a servicing company that can help do anything from small repairs to full service remodels. And it also helps service True Asset. So we have the ability to take on third party clients on the construction side, as well as helping facilitate everything on the management side. So that's something that's new as well.
Cool. So at the beginning, I was talking about your personal numbers. I want to talk about Brick and Loft also, but I mean, I just looked at your production today, like a few minutes before we started, and you're like top five in Lubbock out of hundreds of realtors. What's your advice? You know, realtors just getting started are going to look to you and say like, how the heck did you do it? What's your advice to new agents trying to get started in the Lubbock market or maybe any market?
Yeah, that shoot, man, to help new agents, there's some special things that I teach whenever people jump in at Brick and Loft. So I'm not going to give them all the secrets, but I would say that if I was talking to somebody new or somebody getting in the business, they got to understand expectations. Number one, because I think so many people end up burning out or getting discouraged too quick whenever expectations weren't set accurately. That they see people that are you never talk to an agent that's like, man, it's rough. I'm not selling anything. It's, I'm not having a good year. Everybody's like, the market's great. It's awesome. It's time to buy. Right. So like, you're never going to hear an accurate description from somebody actually in the business. Myself, I like working with select clients and people, but I'm not I don't do a lot of the showings anymore. I have a team that I've kind of facilitate a lot of my clients and showings to, so that I can spend time on other things and running the businesses. I've been doing it for 9 years, and it's something that this year I wanted to step out of. But if you're new and in the business, number one, I would say just your expectations of what an action like becoming an agent entails is a lot different than I think what most people would portray. I mean, it's one of the hardest careers I think to make like a business out of, because there's so many people. So if you get in the business, how are you going to be different? What are you going to do different? I mean, everybody is wearing the same clothes with the same scripts. They have the same 806 phone number, the same systems. They're calling the same leads. So how are you gonna, what makes you different? What makes that person use you over the other seven people that called them in the last 30 minutes, right? Um, and some of that most of that you can teach, and some of it you can't. Not everybody's born and bred to be a salesperson. Um, but yeah, there's some things that we teach and walk people through the sales approach that I believe in that helps, I think, help people close more deals. I mean, we've had multiple people come over to our brokers that have never sold anything, and within a couple of months or less, they've sold their first deal. And I think a lot of it is just setting expectations and then teaching them a strategy that works and the ability to find business. A lot of people say, hit your spear, hit your spear, hit your spear. And, cold call, walk neighborhoods, open houses. And we teach a lot of things different than that because I think they're not necessarily a waste of time, but it shouldn't be your bulk time. That should be 10% of your weekly spread of time, and the other 90% should be spent in other areas and other ways, which is also something that I teach people. Um, Realistic expectations, hard work ethic. Usually, athletes work pretty well in real estate because you know how to be competitive. I don't know why I got balloons. That was weird.
You did this thing. Oh, it's on
Okay.
your. It's because you're shooting it from your phone. That's a like a hand signal to iPhone. That's the only symbol I've figured out is the two fingers
Okay.
creates
Well, it
balloons.
was it was doing balloons, and I was like, I don't know what's going on,
I
but
know. Happy
um,
birthday, Travis.
yeah, appreciate it. No, yeah. But other than that, I would say, yeah, I would say rock and roll and find you somebody that you vibe with or a company that you vibe with. You don't always have to go with the big name. Sometimes you got to have the work environment that's going to suit you and people around you that are willing to help and help you grow in the energy. Too many people just go to a big name and they sell them up front and then they get in there and it's like this is a waste of time. There's no office space. What am I supposed to be doing? And then people are just like, just make your cold calls. We actually sit down one on one in a group setting or whatever and teach people. And then we have multiple ways that people can make money besides just real estate. So I think that's also kind of what makes us a little bit unique. But without giving away too much, that's kind of what I would tell a new agent.
Yeah, that is a good point on the number of other things in the real estate business that you guys offer that somebody new could get into. Well, I mean, if you can tell me or if you feel comfortable sharing, you mentioned like, hey, realistically, you should really only be calling your friends and family like 10% of the time. What should agents be doing the other 90% of the time?
Well, you need to meet new people. So your sphere is great, but if you're not meeting people like new people, you're just counting the same deadbeat list that you got. So, we have goals and we have goals, I guess, that we set for agents in order to like fill in a certain amount of people that are new into their CRM, teach people how to have those conversations in local places. I can't tell you how many, realtors I see at any lunch establishment, coffee shop, whatever, that don't tell people in line or the barista that they're in real estate and that they do real estate, right? They don't think that those people have the money to purchase. I can tell you how many houses I've sold to random people in line at like different restaurants or even coffee shops. You never know who you're going to run into, who's got money and how they've saved or who their parents are, or whatever. But I sell quite a bit of houses like that. Um, and I teach people how to not be the secret agent. You never want to be a secret agent in real estate because people need to know who you are. I'm a big, I harp big on social media presence and internet presence. So I help people build that out. And then we do stuff like skip tracing. We do stuff like pulling lists, being able to tap into, some type of investment geared real estate because I think that learning that is so important and learning it the right way. I'd probably say 1 out of 10 agents that say that they know the investment world or investment realtors probably aren't. Because, they think a rental property is an investment. We start talking creative financing, you start talking number metrics when they got something listed, the numbers don't work. And they don't like to hear, well, hey, the numbers don't hit. This isn't going to sell, right? And they're like, no, it's a great property. Well, it's great, but it doesn't make money. And that's what an investor is looking for. But just learning that I think is a good skill set to have because investors are recession proof. So no matter what happens with tariffs, no matter what happens in the market, if it goes good, bad, whatever, people are going to be buying investment property because there's money to be made there. So you can continue to have success over the years if you have the investment geared real estate. And we've got about a 3,000 person investor list that we run right now. I call it the hungry hippo list because you just throw something up there and typically somebody's going to bite.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy the amount of trust that the investors have in you when you connect them to me. Um, you know, like you're their one-on-one coach, it seems like, and they're just going to buy the property that Travis tells them is okay to buy, is the sentiment that I've seen when they, when we first visit with them, learn about their goals for for the long-term financing. Uh, so that the trust is just really obvious. So whatever y'all are doing, it has to be working. So,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Okay. So if 80-year-old Travis came to visit you today,
I
or
feel
maybe
that way
tonight,
right now.
maybe tonight, you're like, this is live. You're meeting both
Yeah,
of them.
yeah. I feel 80.
If 80-year-old Travis came to visit you today, what advice do you think he would give you?
Man, if he told me that, he'd probably say, continue to, no matter what happens, continue to balance work and life. I think that's, I got my four quadrants that I teach, and it's, it's faith, family, fitness, and finance, right? So those are the four quadrants I think are so important in life. And I've got a goal board with a diagram that's cut into quadrants like that, and I have my goals for each section. And so many people either hyper focus on one or two, and they let the others go, and they don't understand why their marriage, why their relationship isn't working, or they can't understand why they can't make money, or why their finances are in shambles. And I enjoy helping others to I enjoy others to have financial success and just teach them. I listen to a lot of Dave Ramsey, things like that. Not to say that that's the king in the Bible for finances, but so many people don't know how to handle money these days that, the average person right now, I think the average net worth of under 35 when I recently looked is about 27,000. So that's a pretty small number, especially when you wrap in a lot of high net earners, net, like celebrities and actors or whatever that jump that up. So a lot of people really don't have much savings and live paycheck to paycheck, no matter what they drive, no matter what house they have. They're barely treading water. It's because they just don't understand finances. So I think 80-year-old me would tell myself, keep helping people, following the Lord, and really taking the time to enjoy the people around you. Because once you get older, it doesn't matter what car you drove and how much money you made. What matters is how you spent your time with those around you, and the memories that you made, and the lives that you changed, and the souls that you saved. And so that's kind of my mission, is got put in my heart, is to share my faith through my journey, no matter what. So I'm not one to keep faith out of business. I actually try to inject it into my business. And for the most part, I mean, we're in the Bible Belt. People take it well, and enjoy that. And then have had some reciprocation the other way. So, but I'm open to those as well. So
It's awesome. Um, okay. Well, any new projects in the future that you want to talk about? Anything new? I mean, you've got enough going on, but anything new that you want to share?
yeah, well, I mean, well, they new I want to share. Right now, we're currently remodeling 5 properties. We've kind of jumped back into the home remodeling section as well of business, and we're going to start targeting higher end homes as well. We've jumped into the Amarillo market. We're in the Midland market, and hopefully, we will have some feet in the Abilene market in the near future. We always start with the lending side, and then eventually we're part of the MLS, and then we start having some feet in the ground there, and it turns into lending business or into listings, and more investors. So we're continuing to hopefully expand that, and start growing. So honestly, just really looking to grow, and continue to help those that want to invest and do stuff. It's all about just helping people. And I guess I'd say one more tidbit for somebody that's maybe newer in the business, and something that I live by that's really hard to do for most people, I think. But I don't really care or expect. I know I'm going to get paid, but it's not why I do anything that I do. I think if you do well, and you put your heart and you really help people and care about the client, then the money will follow. But until you told me metrics of sales and whatnot, I don't ever go look at my ranking. I don't look at where. I mean, maybe at the end of the year we'll just see where Brick and Loft is on like a track of like growth wise. But during the year, I'm not. I'm just typically working, helping people, doing deals. I don't check my commission of what I'm going to make at the end of the deal. I don't. I honestly don't know what I've made this year, and I don't know what I've got in the books. Money is is fun to have, but it's the least driving factor of my business. More of, I just enjoy doing things and not sitting still. So if I'm not selling houses to clients, I'm going to go buy something and try to flip it right now. And then it was a lull time. Next thing you know, I got 5 projects. And then, so I'm working those. And then I've got some clients that I'm working, and we've got several other businesses that we're working in. So just stay active, and energy will drive business to you, especially if you're not looking for the money, but you're just looking for a deal. You're looking for somebody to help and assist, because people can smell it on you. When you're desperate, they know. And desperate does not mean that you're on their side. So that just means you want to sell them whatever they walk into.
That's amazing. Travis Turner, thank you so much for the visit today. I really appreciate you coming on. Thank you so much.
Yeah, appreciate you having me, man. We'll continue to do more together.
Yes, sir.
Balloons.
Bye bye.
Sorry,
Happy
doesn't work.
birthday. Happy
Yeah,
birthday.
stay
All right,
frosty.
bud. All right. Bye.
Later.